So this last example is an exciting one because you can see how the Financial Times, which might have resisted this change, is instead seizing the opportunities of the new world and using the internet to transform its business. Now to explain to us how the global infrastructure was put in place for the Financial Times, please join me in welcoming Ruann Ernst, Chairman and CEO of Digital Island. Ruann, thank you.
Thank you, Larry, and good morning, everyone. Cisco was Digital Island's very first customer. We've supported Cisco Connection online around the world for over 3 years, and most recently just added some streaming capabilities to important online training efforts that Cisco is pursuing. For Cisco, for DI, and for our joint customer, FT, nothing is more important than providing an excellent end-user experience. What does excellent mean? Excellent means fast, of course. It means guaranteed, and it means relevant. Fast. Fast for downloading files of iOS software or videos for training. Fast for completing millions of trades simultaneously. Fast for ensuring that all parts of the web page are delivered at the same time. Guaranteed, such that your proprietary information and the information of the corporation is guaranteed. Guaranteed such the application is always up and running. And guaranteed such that your web experience is the same whether you're coming from China or Chicago, from Boston or Brazil, any time of the day, and no matter how many other users are trying to do the very same thing that you're doing at that point in time. It's relevant because your web experience is in the language that you use, with the products that are sold in the geography in which you reside, and yes, even the ads. The ads are placed, and the ads that you receive are based upon the country in which you reside, all without you doing anything. This great end-user experience, fast, guaranteed, and relevant, is critical to DI, critical to Cisco, and critical to FT. It's critical to our millions of end users around the world, and it's critical to protecting the brand that all of us have worked so hard to maintain. But the internet wasn't originally designed for this kind of e-business, the demands of doing it globally. So, FT chose Digital Island's integrated solutions of hosting, network services, content delivery, and application services. They avoided the finger pointing that often can occur when you have multiple component technology suppliers. They wanted a worldwide guarantee. They focused on the content and creating a site that would draw their users back again and again and extend their brand globally. And they did it in less than 4 months from start to finish. They used DI as a partner to help bring the new site online, record time, one stop, guaranteed, and guaranteed globally. Now, global reach and scalability are critical if you're FT. It's critical for targeting those 150 million business readers around the world. So FT hosts in 3 of Digital Island's 6 global centers around the world for data. 3 of our 6 hosting centers. They're in London, New York, and Silicon Valley. DI's network services ensure reliable, private connectivity directly to 24 countries, and beyond that to over 125 networks that reach all the users and potential users of FT.com, whether they come through dial-up, through DSL, through cable, through wireless. Digital Island serves FT.com content from the fastest and closest edge computer or content distributor. These are enterprise-class servers that reside at the edges of our network all over the world. This means fast, consistent web page downloads. And if the information happens to be an ad presented, that ad's presented quickly on the page to you, you're much more likely to buy. You're much more likely to do that than if you had to wait for the graphic to download or for the video to present. And Digital Island's Traceware application service makes that online experience more relevant to the end user. What does that mean? It means that a reader in Madrid receives the content in Spanish, the ad product is presented in a peseta pricing, and all with the local tax variance included in the bottom line. And that's done without FT.com having to know that country of user's origin. DI's Traceware empowers the e-business to deliver the right content, the right user, the right time, no matter where they are in the world. International reach, local relevance, that's what it's all about. With Traceware, FT.com has added value for their advertisers. Think about it. As Michael mentioned, this has already steeply increased the revenues and the value for FT.com, helping to ensure its success. And if the ad on FT.com's site happens to cause you to want to push that buy button, that order is processed very quickly. The round trip happens to make sure that your credit card is checked, product availability is assured before it's responded back to you, and all instantaneously, the two-way round trip nature of that to ensure that you stay there and complete that buy, that you don't wait, that you don't go away to another site, or a delay is not created so that you change your mind and decide not to buy. So why did FT choose Digital Island? Yes, they chose us because we're the only supplier of this global integrated solution today for hosting, network services, content delivery, and application services like Traceware. But as importantly, FT wanted a partner that can stay abreast of the increasingly rich demands for media in the internet and for the user, to keep abreast of the increasingly complex technologies that are underneath the internet and the experience that's going to be provided, and increasingly high demands for the relevant end user experience. Soon, that application is going to have to know not only the country from which you resided, but it's going to have to know whether you're coming in from a mobile device or that rich, robust PC. It's going to have to know whether you've got broadband access or do you have just simple narrowband into the home. And it's going to have to adapt accordingly to provide that excellent end-user experience for you. For all media types, no matter what the device or access method or country of origin. E-business success is going to depend upon building strategic relationships with partners who can help surmount these barriers that are inhibiting real, robust e-business on the web and that are inhibiting the provision of this excellent end-user experience every time, everywhere. Most companies can't afford to build that out themselves. They can't find the technical talent, even if they had the time, to build and operate such a global e-business infrastructure. They look at partnering, and partnering is important. Digital Island's all about removing the limits for e-business. FT is all about deploying a great website and a great success story.
Thanks, Ruann. You know, a lot of people talk about global, but heck, it's hard to run even a national service. So what's involved in making a truly global website?
Well, you know, I think providing a global website and a global service means you've got to think global from the beginning. You've got to design with the idea that user is not going to start in the U.S. first and then maybe go somewhere, but that user is going to be around the world from the beginning. So the language, the ability to support the different technologies, to understand the legal and regulatory requirements of what you can and can't do in each of the countries, all that's got to be part of what you do in the design and in the ongoing service to your customer.
So you think globally, but you act locally. You mentioned that you can pinpoint the location of a given surfer and pass that along to customers like Financial Times?
Yes. Digital Island's Traceware, as I mentioned, is fairly sophisticated software and algorithms, but it simply, for that application, says users coming from Brazil or China or Singapore or France. And you, the application, then can use that to provide the local language, the local content, or perhaps the best top 10 music clips that you talked about. Higher probability of buying if those music clips are the top 10 Brazilian beat as opposed to Swedish. Okay. And we do that with 96% accuracy everywhere in the world. Okay, so I don't have to poke at the language or anything like that. It just comes right up. Come right up. Okay. It sounds valuable to both the users and to the advertisers. One last question. A lot of the pages that are there now have a lot of text and graphics, but I imagine in the future there'll be a lot more streaming media. Are you ready for that? Our network from last October onward has been full streaming media enabled around the world. We're proud of the fact that we were the first global network to do that. Importantly, also, we're seeing accounts and enterprise customers putting not only streaming events to attract the attention, but doing what we call transactive multimedia. That's putting a buy button in the middle of that ad, giving you the opportunity to stop and buy something you saw that you liked, complete that round-trip transaction. And we're also seeing a much higher use of on-demand video as part of the web experience. Just as today the web experience needs to have music, it needs to also have moving video. That's the real world, and we see it happening very quickly.
Well, I've already bookmarked the FT.com site, so I'll look forward to seeing that coming out in the future. And thanks for sharing this great success with us, Ruann, and telling us about what Digital Island did in this case.
Great. Thanks, Larry.
Thank you.